Welcome back, babes, to the Free the Moms podcast. Today we have a very special guest. My friend Katy McFee is here, and she helps to not only free moms, but free women from some of the traps we can find ourselves in when we are in corporate. But this conversation is going to be for every woman that is listening. You guys are going to hear yourself inside this conversation. And actually, we've had a lot of yummy mummies that have been requesting a quote unquote career coach to come into the Yummy Mummy. And while Katy's not your boring, like old school career coach, she does help women get to the next level in their careers and in their lives. And she's a dear friend of mine. So Katy, introduce yourself to us. Tell us how you help free the women in corporate and in their careers, and just give us a little scoop about where you are in the world. You're a mom too, so tell us about that. I'll start there.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you. And I'm so excited to be here. Yeah, so I had an 18-year corporate career. I worked in biotech and tech. During that time, I also became a mom. I have 3 kiddos now. They were all born when I was in corporate. I had big aspirations to move into senior leadership. And so I found myself being like the only woman at the table, a single mom at one point, while all the other men on the leadership team had like stay-at-home wives. And so I really saw like how my experience was so different from their experience, and like kind of the lack of understanding that exists in those types of settings. They very much are built for like men with stay-at-home wives. But I did end up getting to the top. I became like a VP and an EVP, and I reached all my goals. And then I actually realized that this was not what I wanted. I decided to leave the corporate space and start my own business. And originally I wasn't sure what that was going to look like, but ultimately I decided I want to work with women specifically, and women who want to get to that next level in their careers and really thrive there without burning out. Because I see so many women who are just doing like more, and they're like doing 10 times more work than their male colleagues are. And they're still being passed over. They're still not being recognized. And this was the case for me as well. It actually took me a long time to get that VP role. For lots of years, I really struggled. I struggled to be seen as like executive material. And I want to help solve that for other people, right? And like, I've sort of learned the tricks at this point as to like what you need to do to be recognized for your talents. And it's not worked 10 times harder than everyone else. And so I want to help as many women now to step into those senior level roles, help like close the gender gap we see in senior leadership, but really also make sure women are thriving there.
Oh, I'm obsessed with that, because I do think that is our knee-jerk answer, is like, how do I get to that next level, whether that's in corporate or not? And usually our answer as women is like, I just need to do more. I just need to hustle harder, grind more. And then our health is at stake. Our sleep suffers, our parenting, our relationships, and it bleeds into all these other areas. And then we're like you're saying, we're a shell of ourselves and we're burnt out. So how do we do that then? Like, how do we get to that next level without burning out, without doing more? What's the actual answer?
Yeah. The real key is being focused on doing the right things, right? Like as you move up in leadership, and really in any area of your life, it's all about what are you focused on? Have you ever heard someone say like diluted efforts create diluted results, right? It's like the whole game is knowing what to focus on and then actually focusing on that thing. And if you can do that, then you're really able to step into whatever you want. Like what I think specifically like career wise, it comes down to things like creating visibility for the great work that you're doing, slowing down long enough to really think through like what are the most important things. Like one thing I see with so many women is because we're like we almost feel guilty if we're not like putting pen to paper or in a meeting. And so we're like meeting, call, help my team, get on Slack, like do all of these things. We don't leave any space to just think. And if you have no time I always say like, you're not going to have a strategic insight in the 2 minutes between Zoom calls. It's like impossible. Our brains just don't work like that. And so a lot of it really does come down to slowing down and thinking about like, what are the things that actually matter? And then I would say the last thing that I'll add on is just being really intentional about what are my non-negotiables? What are the boundaries that I need to create in my life? it took me a long time to get good at this. And actually, one thing that I left out when I was sharing my intro is that I did burn out at one point when I was in corporate. And it was because I was just like not taking care of my health. I wasn't feeling aligned with what I was doing. I was doing way too many things that were like de-energizing, which matters more than we think. Like burnout isn't just about working more. It's if you're doing a lot of things that don't energize you, that is a recipe for burnout. And I was like the work hard, play hard girl, right? So I was like working my ass off all day. And then I was like drinking a whole bunch. And I just did not have healthy habits. And turning that around like really changed my life. So those are kind of the big things. It's the focus piece. And then it's like being intentional about boundaries and non-negotiables as well.
Yeah. So you talked about slowing down, which has been a huge part of my work in the last couple of years. But honestly, it brings up panic for me. Not anymore because I've been practicing it. But how do we actually start to slow down when it borderline doesn't even feel safe for us to do that?
Yeah. This was me to a T. Like I was like fast thinking, fast talking, fast action. And part of it is just to admit to yourself, first of all, like this is a liability. Like this is no longer a flex. I would think early in your career, it's a flex. Outworking everyone, doing more than everybody else, putting up your hand for every extra project, like that will get you those early promotions. That will serve you when you're young and your only currency is like energy and time. As you get older, I don't care whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you're working in corporate or you have your own business, as you gain more years, that's not your currency anymore, right? And so stop treating it like it is. So one is just like giving ourselves permission. Like I used to feel guilty if I was spending time thinking instead of putting pen to paper. And so I had to really like shift my mindset to believe this is actually the most valuable thing I could be doing right now. Like banging out more work. Like there's lots of people on my team who can bang out work. I'm the only one that can be making these key decisions. And so it's like really, it's a mindset shift, I think more than anything else. And then it's creating the habit, right? And it's when we're creating new habits, like what do we need to do? Sometimes we need visual cues. Sometimes we need to like block it in our calendar, like all of these tricks. But giving yourself some grace and recognizing it does take time to build these new habits.
Yeah.
First step is mindset. And then second step is actually like creating the habit and supporting yourself through that and giving yourself a little grace when you slip, because you will, because we all do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. Oh, I totally resonate with burning out comes from doing things that you don't like to do or that really drain you, because that's also been a part of my process or my like self-work over the past couple of years is like really doubling down on like, what do I want? What do I like? And what feels good? And that felt so counterintuitive for me because I'm like, no, but I should be doing this. And this is the playbook and this is how you scale. And I was like, you know what? F that. For like just a year, I'm going to throw away all the rule books and all the shoulds and just like do it my way. I actually had a coach who was like, okay, you're going to go home and you're going to build this webinar and you're going to make this email sequence funnel and you're going to do this and this. And I wrote in my journal, like while she was talking, and I wrote, no, I'm not, LOL. I end up telling her like 45 minutes later, I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it that way. And I hate to say it, but that was like the most valuable thing I got out of that mastermind was hearing my own voice. But what I've noticed is doing it my way where I'm really checking in with what do I want, what energizes me, what feels good, what do I like. This sounds ridiculous, but I am an endless well of energy. Like it feels like impossible for me to burn out because it just, the capacity is totally expansive. And people always say, and I know they say this to you too, like, how do you do all this stuff? And it's like, like I literally can't not. It's just like, I'm not even, it doesn't feel like I'm doing it. It feels like it's just coming through me. So I see that as like a carrot because it actually can be more productive for you, because I think it can feel scary to shift our mindsets or to shift our calendars or to stop doing and slow down. But you have to like test it and show yourself like, first of all, it is safe and it actually is more productive.
Like I can give so many examples too, where when I was in my director level role, I was in, I would say, a stage of company and culture that did not put me in my sweet spot. Okay. I spent a lot of times doing time doing things that I didn't love doing. I wasn't that good at, but I thought I had to do to like become a VP. And so I was like freaking turning the crank. Like I was grinding away every day. I felt like I was banging my head against the wall. It didn't feel fun. I wasn't doing that well. I felt not great about myself. And when I stepped into my VP role, it was a much better stage of company. It was a scaling stage company, which is in my sweet spot. The culture was amazing. I felt like I could be my authentic self, all the things. And I crushed it. Like my results were objectively better, like way better, hundreds of millions of dollars better. I was having way more fun and it felt easy. And I love telling people this is like, when you are doing what you're meant to do, it's going to feel easy and it's going to feel fun and you're going to get better results. It can be that good. And this also was like really drove home when I was an EVP and I was burning out. I actually made a list of everything that I had to do as part of my job. And I put it in 2 columns, energizes or drains. I just had the idea to do this one day. I was like, I'm just going to make a list. Cause like, I don't know why I'm like, my life's perfect and I'm miserable. Like, I don't know why. And so I made this list and there were things about that job that energized me, but they didn't happen very often. Like it was like strategy sessions and like the offsite, like all this strategic work, like that I really enjoyed. I loved it. I loved the team. It was so interesting because the team around was amazing. I really liked the CEO. Like I enjoyed a lot of aspects, but there were so many things that were like sucking the life out of me and that I couldn't necessarily offload. And so I had to make a call, like, am I going to keep doing this? And I ultimately decided no. And yeah, it's like, this is the power of delegating or automating or just like not doing the thing. Like your coach being like, you're going to do this webinar. And you're like, no, I'm freaking not. And I'm the same way in my business. Like I will hear something like there's so much, we're both business owners. There's so much advice for business owners. Like create this, create that, like this kind of funnel. And I'll know instantly in my body,
Yes.
is this the thing that I want to do or not? And if it's not, good luck getting me to do it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I think my word for the year, I don't know, I'm like 7 words for the year still. But one of my words is like insourcing and like checking in with that inner knowing because that's always correct. So when you say like it gets to be easy and it gets to be fun, and in fact, that is going to get you better results. Can you sell us on that idea a little bit? Because I think that some people won't believe you. I believe you. But I think we're taught, like culturally, we've been conditioned that like it's supposed to be hard. And we're like addicted to hard. Just like we won't even let it be easy for ourselves sometimes.
Yeah, I run a group program for women who want to step in their first time VP roles. And we have great group discussions. And so every single cohort I run, when I get to the point where I'm talking about expertise and strengths and weaknesses and that type of thing, I say, who here thinks that you should focus on your strengths and who here thinks that you should focus on developing your weaknesses? And it really depends on the group. One of the groups I ran like last week, actually, it was like everyone was like strength. But sometimes I get like a really good 50-50 split. And so then I share this idea that in my experience and what I've seen for so many others is that when you lean into your strengths, which chances are that's also the stuff you like doing, it's like pretty rare that you like crush it at things that you hate. Like usually you like doing the thing, and it's also a strength. And there's a reason why, actually. The reason why, there's lots of data that backs this up. You are more likely to become an expert at something if you're passionate about it than if you have innate talent. Because obviously you love it. You're going to like read about it all the time. You're going to do it in your spare time. You're going to put everything into it.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, when you're focusing on your weak areas, can you get better? Yes, you can get better, but you will get incrementally better with a lot of effort. So when I was doing this for 5 years, I was stuck as a director for 5 years, working my ass off to get to that next level. And I felt like I was failing every day because I was working so hard, but I wasn't in my zone of genius. And so one of the things I like to tell people is like, you actually don't have to knock it out of the park like every day because it's impossible. No one's going to do that. But when you're working in your zone of genius all the time or very often, you give yourself way more opportunities to knock it out of the park because you're already good at that thing and you're spending more time in it. And it all sort of compounds, right? It's like you're spending more time in this area, you're getting better. And it's a lot easier to improve in your strong areas. Even if you're strong in that area than it is in your weak areas. And so I always tell people, like, really think about, is this something I even care to improve on? Sometimes it is. Sometimes it isn't.
Yeah.
But truthfully, I've seen this time and time again, is if you are working in corporate, look at the type of company you're at. Look at the culture you're working in. Look at the job you're doing and ask yourself, what percentage of the time do I actually get to spend in my zone of genius?
And how do you know your zone of genius? Like, what if we have a listener that's like, I'm not even sure what my zone of genius is. Like, how do we figure that out?
That's such a great question. Oftentimes your zone of genius is stuff that's easy for you that you might notice is not as easy for other people. So we tend to discount the things we're good at. This is also a well-known fact. If something is easy for you, you tend to assume it's easy for everyone else. And so you can look around and notice what are things that people have told you you're really good at? What are things you enjoy doing that you get a good result from? And then you notice, oh, other people like seem to find this a little harder than me. Like those are some clues as to what your zone of genius is. For me, when I was a director, it was interesting because I had never worked at a scaling stage company and I had never been at a bigger company in that senior leadership position. The reason I say that is that I actually had some strengths that I didn't know I had. So when I stepped into this role, I all of a sudden had like lots of data, lots of information, a team that I could work with. And I realized pretty quickly, like, I'm really good at this. This is going to be so easy for me because I just, my brain instantly knew what I needed to do. Like I didn't actually have to like think really hard and doubt myself. Like I kind of instantly knew. And so as soon as I knew, I was like, oh, like that's why the last 5 years sucked so much. Like, honestly, I wish I had known then. And this is why I try to tell people now, like if it feels really hard and you don't feel like you're getting the results you want and it doesn't feel fun, like it feels like a slog, chances are there's misalignment somewhere. It's either in the job itself or it's in the culture or the stage of company or something. But like those
we're so taught to like suck it up or just like work harder. And then we make ourselves bad and wrong because we can't do it when really it's just a misalignment. Yeah, that's really well said. Yeah. I think so many of us are waking up, like you said, where we're like, oh my God, my life is perfect on paper and I'm dreading every second.
Yeah.
It's so common. And so what's your answer to that? What do we do when we have that moment? Or I feel like a lot of us have had that moment and we don't want to even admit it because admitting it can feel so scary.
And embarrassing, like almost like shameful. Yeah, this was the hardest.
Yeah, like I shouldn't complain. I shouldn't complain, or I should be grateful. And then we just add more salt to the wound.
And people around you might mirror that. People around you might be like, "What do you mean? You have everything, right?"
So
and you're like, "Oh, yeah." This truthfully was the hardest time mentally that I can remember, like in my recent life. Like, I don't know, maybe when I was a teenager, I was more angsty and depressed. But yeah, like I was an EVP. I had a baby. I was with the love of my life. I had this perfect, big, beautiful home outside the city on a lake. Like my life looked perfect. Okay. And yeah, I was miserable. I was fragile. I was like crying every day. I thought like my partner, my husband was going to like leave me because I was like, he's not going to want to deal with this. Like, I was just like a mess. And I'm like, who is this person? And so I did a few things. So obviously I left corporate, but that's not what you have to do. In this particular case, I made the decision because I knew I needed to leave this particular role. And I was debating, do I do something on my own or do I move into another role in an area that's more energizing? And I think either could have worked for me, to be clear. I don't think you need to leave corporate if this is the situation you're in. But I decided like a change of scenery was something that I needed. So that was one thing I did is I changed the scenery and I moved into something where I had a lot of autonomy and a lot of control and I could choose to focus on the things that I loved to do.
Yeah.
So that's one. The second thing though is I actually just did a lot of inner work. So I was talking to actually my husband about this the other day because I was like, yeah, I left this job, but like I also became a certified coach. And in the certification I went through, the first 3 months are going through the program as though you're a client. So you do like a ton of deep work, like work I had never done in my life. And so I was in my 40s at this point, and I'd never asked myself who I was as my authentic self. I had never really journaled. I had never, like, so many things that I just didn't know myself in that way.
Yeah.
And so investing in this deep work, and anyone can do this, right? You can work with a coach, but there's books, there's so many things you can do to just work on yourself and get to know yourself better. I really think that's what changed my life. And because since then, I've been really consistent with a lot of the elements that I introduced into my life. And this is going to bring it full circle now to habits and freeing the moms and that kind of thing. Because I decided some non-negotiables in my life, which included exercise every morning, which included meditation, and in the evenings, journaling and affirmations, and getting a good night's sleep, eating good, healthy, nourishing food. And I used to drink a lot of alcohol. So I cut way back on that. I will occasionally have a drink now, but not nearly before. It was it's a Wednesday, open a bottle of wine. If I was driving home from work and there was no wine in the house, I would be late for childcare to stop for wine. It was that bad. Okay. And so I changed that habit as well, where I was this is no longer going to be a crutch for me. And that's what changed my life realistically. And now every single day, I'm I love my life. It's amazing. So living the dream. But it's I also created that. It's not luck.
Yeah. It doesn't just happen. Yeah. That's so good. I think a lot of us, and not to our fault, it's just how we've been trained, is we're just living on default. We're just going through the program. We're just in the matrix, and it's you just took your life back basically. So how do we create more visibility? Because yes, we want to do it in the workplace, but also for a lot of my audience, at home too, that's a common complaint that comes up. I'm not respected. I'm not validated. I'm not even noticed. So how do we create more visibility?
Yeah. So to your point, a lot of us do this, whether it's at home or at work, where we work hard with our heads down and we wait for the right people to notice. And I'm that's a big mistake that I see a lot of people make. And it's because we're so conditioned to do that. We're conditioned to be humble. Don't be too much. Don't take up too much space. All of that stuff. And I was also raised don't be bold, respect your elders, all that stuff. So that's more workplace specific, but I just feel really uncomfortable creating visibility into the great things that we're doing. And so whether it's at home or at work, we want to be having conversations where we are sharing, first of all, what we want, and secondly, what we're contributing. And I think they're both really important. So if I start with corporate, people will tell me all the time, oh, but I update my boss in our one-on-one. I'm he's thinking about 100 other things other than your specific workload and what you do. So even if that in that moment, he's oh, great job, Laura. 15 minutes later, he's putting out fires and he's totally forgotten. And by the time your annual review comes around, he's definitely forgotten. And so in the workplace, I always say giving updates too casually is a big mistake. You want to be sending a weekly report at the end of the week. And you want to ensure that you're sharing, you want to share updates on that project, but you also want to share key decision logic. Why did you make that call? What was underneath that? What are the biggest risks? Show how you're thinking. Demonstrate to people that you are thinking at that next level, because otherwise they just don't know. So that's one thing. And I also say a weekly report and a 30-day check-in. Those are two that I really recommend. I also recommend don't just create visibility with your boss. Identify who are other key stakeholders in the organization that need to know your value, and make sure you're creating visibility with them as well. Now, when it comes to at home, it's a little bit different. So you're not having career conversations about what your promotion is, but you should talk to your partner about what helps you feel appreciated. What is it that you're looking for? As women, as moms and wives, oftentimes we're just hoping for recognition or whatever, but it's maybe know your partner's love language, make sure they know yours, let them know, it might not seem romantic to be really upfront about this stuff, but I'm it's the most romantic thing you can do. It's checking in and sharing what it is you need. And then having real conversations about how are we going to divide labor, or what does this look like? And sometimes it's that both people are I don't feel like my stuff is seen. And so then you can actually talk about, okay, like, how do we ensure that we're both supporting one another in this too? It's like, maybe it's like an end of the week recap. Hey, let's both like share the great things we did this week and like pat each other on the back or like celebrate it a little bit. I'm also a fan of like the life date. I don't know if you know what that is, but I got this from Sahil Bloom. Every month he goes on a date with his wife and they check in on work, personal, and relationship. And like, I love this idea because then you can say like, oh, like I was feeling like I wasn't really totally being seen at this past time. We're like, hey, I think that we've been doing really good or whatever. Like, but it just creates a forum. And like in both of these instances, the key thing that I want you to take home is that don't make yourself have to keep like approach these awkward conversations. Create a system and process so that it happens for you. So like the life date, it just happens every single month. You always get to have that opportunity to share how you're feeling in the relationship, how you're feeling at home, how you're feeling. And maybe your job, like when I say work could be stay-at-home mom. It doesn't have to be like.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm a big believer of like basically business-ifying your family and your marriage or your partnership. Like it should be, I mean, my audience knows this, but like it should be on the calendar. Like your calendar should match your priorities and your problems, right? If it's not on the calendar, it's not going to get done. So same thing. My husband and I, we go on weekly date nights, but we also have, I'd love to say weekly, but really it's like monthly summits, which is fine for us because they're on the calendar every week and then they happen every 2 weeks and that's totally fine. And now my goal this year is to do it with my family. Like I want to have one-on-one with each kid. I want to have one overnight with each kid each quarter. I want to have like one big family thing every month. And I just think we think as women and moms like that these things are just going to happen. And they're just not going to happen unless you, number one, what you talked about was like knowing what you want and like speaking up about what it is that you want. And sometimes we don't even know what we want because we haven't even asked ourselves that question because we're scared of. I mean, it's like the most important question. And like, I can't tell you how many of my clients will be like, I don't know. I've never asked myself that question.
Yes.
Oh, like
I didn't ask myself that until I was in my 40s.
It's crazy. It's crazy because we're supposed to be caring about what everybody else wants. And we're not supposed selfish if we like ask ourselves what we want. But it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. If you figure out what you want and then you bring that to the surface, like you can't burn out. Like for me, it's like when I connect to those desires, it's like so energizing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that the life date. It's so good. And people will always say to me, like, it's not romantic. I'm like, okay, well, what's the alternative? Like, like
divorce isn't romantic either.
Yeah. I mean, so I think that's really good. Okay, let's talk about motherhood a little bit within like the career space. So what do you see with women becoming moms and then how it affects how they show up professionally?
So, I mean, I think when women become moms, we just get better at efficiency and prioritization. Like, I'm always like, you want someone to do it and do it right, give it to a busy mom. Like in the workplace, I love having moms work for me because like they crush it. They're not wasting time. They're not dilly-dallying in the kitchen getting a coffee. They're like, we got stuff to do. And it's so unfortunate when sometimes there can be the perception of like, is this person as committed or they have to leave at 4 or whatever. Like, I actually think that's such bullshit because to me, women who are moms are equally, if not more dedicated. They just need the support. And I mean, there was one job I had where I was pregnant and there was a product training happening in another city, like in our sort of HQ. And they wouldn't send me because I was pregnant. And I'm like, he's like, but you're pregnant. You're going to go on mat leave. I was like, I still need to work for 6 months before that mat leave. I would like to be successful in those 6 months. And so I think what sometimes happens is we send the message to women, like we no longer value you or we don't see you as committed. And we see women after they have children leave the workforce in higher numbers. And I think that's why. And I think it's such like a shame. And so one thing for women out there is looking at like, what is this like at my organization? How do they treat women? Are there women on the senior leadership team? Do we see women going on maternity leave and actually getting a decent amount of leave and like that kind of thing? And I think it's really up to us to advocate for ourselves in that way. I remember when I was a VP, I negotiated hard for my leave. Like, I was like, I'm just going to negotiate unapologetically. Like, I want a full top up. I want 6 months. And I got it. Was it easy? No, it wasn't one easy conversation, but I was like, this is important to me. And I'm going to ensure that like I'm treated fairly in this case. And I'm an executive. And so I should be compensated for that. With women, I think this is where it becomes really important to understand what are your non-negotiables too. So one of your non-negotiables could be, I want to eat dinner with my family every night. Or it could be, I'm spending time with my kids in the morning, getting them on the bus. I don't look at email until 9. But if you're one of these women, especially if you're like a people pleaser and you're that person who for the last 10 years has answered emails and like Teams messages and stuff in like 5 minutes and you're uber responsive, then you might need to communicate new boundaries. You might need to say, listen, I'm 100% committed. This is what this is going to look like though. And like, honestly, be unapologetic about it because you don't see people at the top apologizing for their priorities. And so you shouldn't either.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can be really scary. And it's like, just because it's scary doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. And it's almost like a lot of these suggestions, it's like, just try it. Like you've tried it the other way and you have those results. It's like right now I'm putting my phone on. Have you heard of these bricks? You can like, it's ridiculous, but you brick your phone and then you put the actual brick that like shuts parts of your phone off, like away from your phone. And it like locks you out of certain, like it locks me out of my email, my text messages, and my Instagram basically. And it locks me up from like 4 p.m. to like 7 a.m. or 5 p.m. to 7 a.m. or whatever, so that I can be with my family without the distraction. Yeah. And at first it was like, again, it like sends me into like, I like want to seize. I'm like, it's so addicted. And, but then you see the payoff and then you see that nothing bad happens. Like, yeah, I did answer a work email like 5 hours later than I normally would have. And nothing bad happened. And in fact, what an example to set to other people in your organization or in your life that like, it's okay to whatever.
I was always a fan too of like, if I was taking my kids to the doctor or an appointment or whatever, I would put it right in my calendar and I wouldn't hide that. Like my calendar was open because and I was like in a privileged position that I was in leadership, right? So I had a lot of autonomy over like what I wanted to do, but I was like, I want to set this example for the women on my team. So they know that they have permission. Like, take your kid to the doctor, like take your kid to the dentist. You're allowed to do that.
So scary. So scary. I feel so guilty. Now I work for myself and I still feel guilty. It's like this conditioning runs deep. So I was obsessed. I actually reposted it because I think it's so profound. You had said on your Instagram, women, and I'm a huge advocate for this and talking about it all the time, that like we really can have it all, but we can't do it all. Can you speak to that? Because I think that is just, I think it's BS. Like this rhetoric that we can't have it all. Like I believe we can have it all. Sometimes I get annoyed at myself because I do want it all. And I'm like, this is like a lot. Dude, can we just want a little less? And it's like, no, I can't. I'm just unapologetic about it, to your point. Yeah. But how can we live that out of like having it all, but not doing it all?
Yeah. It's a really important distinction, right? There's only 24 hours in the day. You can't
Which I'm very mad about. I'm very mad. 24 hours in a day. I really had to mourn this idea that there's like 36 hours in a day. And like, it takes me longer to do things than I want it to do. I'm like, why does it take me an hour to like get my kids ready and myself ready and the house ready? And I'm like annoyed about it, but it does. But anyway, sorry, I keep interrupting you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, but it is a good point. Like we try to squeeze so much in. And when I say you can have it all, what I mean is like, you can have a big life and a big career and take care of your health and spend time with your family. Like you can have all of those things, but you can't do it all. Like, for example, you can't be at the recital and also be on your team meeting. That's not possible. You can't do two things at the same time. Like, it's like, you have to think in trade-offs, right? You have to think about, I'm doing this or I'm doing this. And yeah, right now, I've got an amazing relationship with my kids. I love my kids. I spend good time with them. I've got a business that I run. I focus on my health. Like, these are all great things. I've got great relationships in my life. But I run a business. I run a group program. This year, we only found out about the Christmas pageant, recital thingy, quad, whatever it is.
Yeah.
When Christmas, they sing and stuff. Anyways, we only found out about it like 2 days before. And it was when I run my group program. And so I was like, I have to miss it. Did I want to miss it? No. My 5-year-old totally guilted me about this.
Yep.
And I'm like, there are trade-offs we have to make. That doesn't mean I can't have it all, but it means I can't do everything because I can't clone myself. And so this is where I think prioritization, non-negotiables, boundaries, all of these things come into play. And also thinking about like, what are the things that are really important to me? So one example I like to give is, if you're like me and you're like a little bit A-type and you like to do everything perfect, then, note comes home from the school, hey, we need stuff for the bake sale. You're like, ooh, I'm going to make these things from scratch. They're like organic and healthy, but delicious and duh. And then you realize, oh no, I volunteered to like be at this charity thing tomorrow night. And I have this thing for work and I have whatever. And you're like, when are you supposed to fit it in? And now maybe baking is something that's really important. It's not important to me. Looking for the school is not important to me. I actually don't care. It's my perfectionism that's getting in the way. And so I'm like, pick something up. It was baked by someone. Doesn't have to be you. So it's like, someone made this homemade. Wasn't your girl. And so it's like giving yourself grace in those instances to be like, what are the things that are important?
That's what I think is the problem, is the perfectionism and wanting to do it all and like making it mean something about you or your character or your worth when you say no or you quote unquote lower the bar. But then you raise the bar in terms of how you feel inside your body too, right? Like
totally. I know women who are like, they don't want to get a house cleaner because they're like, oh, like I should be doing it. Like,
because I can. I should because I can do it. Yeah. So what?
Oh, what? Do you want to do it?
Yeah. And that's where I think your point about prioritization is really helpful. And I think this needs to be maybe you have a date with yourself on the calendar where you really figure out, or you join one of our programs so we help you figure out what your priorities actually are, because it helps in the moment to decide. Because like I always use the example of like when we were doing some remodeling and the contractor wanted to talk to me all the time about these very important decisions that needed to be made by yesterday. And I'm like, I have a call. Meanwhile, I did not have a call, but I had a podcast I had to record because my priority wasn't my basement tile. It was my podcast. But if I hadn't actually sat down and decided that this is more important than this, it would be hard for me in the moment. And like, just to your point with like family and running our own businesses, it's like this year I've prioritized my business is still a big priority, but like that 4:00 rule, like it shuts off at 4:00 and then I'm with my family. Cause I think what I did is I swung from like, my mom was like the perfect mom. And I swung all the way over here to like being the perfect business owner so that I had something after my kids got older. I did this totally subconsciously. 'Cause she didn't have any, she gave up her career and then like really didn't have anything after we got out of the house, and that turned into a whole bunch of mental health stuff, which you know about. But anyways, it's finding that like actually it's making commitments on a piece of paper to yourself about what your priorities are and then being able to follow through on those priorities, because in the moment, sometimes it's hard. It's hard to know. And
but people
end up in that category of like urgent, but not important.
And urgent and not important, or like spending a bunch of your time doing stuff that you don't want to do, that's not energizing you. One great exercise I did was I sat down and wrote out, okay, what are my priorities? So maybe what are my top 5 priorities or whatever.
Oh.
If someone else were looking in on my life, what would they say my top priorities were? That is eye-opening. You want to like you want to punch in the gut, do that.
Are you walking the walk?
Well, yeah. And many of us don't. It's this whole idea where if you don't ask yourself, can I do this? Ask yourself, is this a hell yeah? Do I want to do this? Because I think we often answer in terms of our capacity. And it's this is not a capacity question. This is is this a priority for you? It's something you really care about. And so, yeah, I think we also look at people around us. I don't know about you, but with social media and people in our neighborhood, whatever, you might be running a business, but then you're comparing your parenting or your school involvement with the stay-at-home moms who that is their top priority. And you're why am I not doing that? And then you're comparing your business to people who don't have kids. And then you're comparing your body to an 18-year-old fitness model online. And we compare us to people who that is their only priority. And I catch myself doing this. I'm looking at someone online and I'm Katy, she's a decade younger than you and is works out for a living.
Doesn't have kids.
Chill out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So good.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I love that, you guys. And don't use it to beat yourself up. Use it as motivation to change something in your life. If you're wow, my values or what I say my priorities don't match. We did this, we launched the Post Up, which is a marriage coaching program that me and my lead coach run. And we asked my audience, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you value your marriage? And it was 9, 9, 10, 10, 10, 9, 10, 8, 9. And then we're how much time are you spending? How much energy, how much money are you spending on making your marriage what you want it to be on a scale of 1 to 10?
None.
How much? Yeah, it was 1. Everyone's oh God. And it's you can do the same thing. You say you prioritize or you value health or whatever, fill in the blank thing. And then is it in your calendar? It's a good wake-up call question. Okay, I have so many things I could still talk to you about. Let's do, you guys. So Katy just had me on her podcast. It was so good. You should totally go listen to it. And she did a lightning round at the end. So I'm borrowing from her and I want to do not a little lightning round, a amazing lightning round. Okay. One phrase women should stop saying immediately.
I should.
One phrase to start saying instead.
I get to.
Confidence killer you see everywhere.
I'll say weak language.
Ooh.
Saying things I don't know if this is a good idea, but.
Oh, so good. Confidence builder most people overlook.
Voice, tone, and body language.
You're such a good example of that. Okay, boundary every woman needs.
It's so individual. I think as long as you need to decide your boundaries and stick to them, but I don't want to tell you what they should be.
I know. I was thinking the same thing when I read that question. Okay, good. Oh, it's this is so funny. Okay, quick body language shift that boosts authority.
Sit up, shoulders back, and bring your voice.
I'm good enough.
Exactly. And bring your voice down a little. Oh. So as I'm talking like this, talk like this.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. One belief that changes everything.
Belief that why not me? If someone's going to live the dream, if someone's going to get the thing, why can't it be you?
Advice for moms returning to work after kids.
Decide your non-negotiables.
Success equals
freedom.
So good. Or freedom equals success too. So good. Okay.
Ooh, boom. Yeah.
Boom. Okay. So that was super fun. I'm going to add this to every single episode. So I thank you guys for our takeaways today. I mean, so many takeaways, but to really list out what you do, whether you're in corporate or not, list out every single thing that you do. And then is it energizing or not? And if it's not, can you delegate it? Can you just cross it off? can you make a plan to eventually cross it off? And if you're going to keep it on there, how can you use mindset to energize? If you can't get out of it, get into it. So, any other takeaways, Katie, that we want to make sure that they do? I always like to give takeaways at the end.
Yeah, no, I love that. Definitely do that exercise. Ask yourself, what are the things that are most important to me? And am I prioritizing those things? Am I feeling energized every day? And just like give yourself permission. I always like, you're not a tree, you can move. So if you decide that you are in that place where you're not feeling energized, where you're not feeling confident or whatever, then give yourself permission to look for something that might be better for you.
Yeah. Ooh, that's so good. Okay. So tell us how we can come and stalk you and find you and like be in your world.
Yeah. So I post on LinkedIn every day. That's like my main social media platform. So definitely go check out, if you like any of the stuff that I had to say there, if you are a woman in leadership, you want to be in leadership, you want to get promoted, any of that stuff, I post stuff every single day on that. I also post on Instagram. I have a weekly newsletter where you get free tips and I deep dive on stuff. But if you're listening to this, you probably love podcasts. So I would say the easiest thing might be just go check out my podcast, which is called More Women Promoted. I sometimes have great guests on, just like Laura, who was recently a guest. And I dive into a topic every week about being a woman in leadership and life. And you can find out more there.
So good. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Katie. I love this conversation. All right, you guys, go check her out. Go stalk her. And yeah, I love you guys. I hope you have the best week ever. If you guys liked this episode or if you love this podcast, pretty please go right now. Just do it. It's karma points. Go leave a rating and or review. I appreciate it. And it helps us to free 1 million moms. So thank you in advance. TIA. All right, Katie, have the best week. This was so fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye.